This is a question I get in my office quite routinely. People have ankle sprains, or people had ankle sprains in the past, and they were told that sprains can be worse than a fracture. When you think about what happens when you sprain your ankle, it's very similar to what happens when you fracture or break your ankle. When you sprain your ankle, you often roll it in the same manner as if you were to fracture it. The energy is absorbed by the soft tissues rather than absorbed by the bones. And just because a bone doesn't break doesn't mean you don't feel the same amount of pain as if you had broken the bone. And therefore, it is often still stiff and painful to walk on. You need to follow the recommendations of PRICE, which is protective weight bearing, rest, ice, compression, and elevation in order to let that sprained ankle to resolve.